Well, good morning. I'm Shar Farley, a member of this fellowship, and I'll be your service leader this morning. We gather on the unceded lands of the Muskogee Nation of Florida. We are grateful for this land. If you're visiting us this morning and new to Unitarian Universalism, you'll find more about us on the back of your order of service, on our website, and on our Facebook page. Please fill out a visitor card at the table near the door where you came in this morning so that we can get your information and keep in touch with you on upcoming events in our fellowship. After the service, we invite you to stay and join us for coffee and light refreshments at the rear of the sanctuary, and also to take part in our second hour activities. Today, we are in the office over here. We'll be having Get Out the Vote, which will be our last time, and Jane Park, our chair of social justices, has a few words about that.
Good morning. I just want to use this time to say thank you to all the support for this letter writing once a month social justice activity. It's something new, and it's, you know how when you introduce a new thing, there's sometimes some waves and stuff, and I just want to say how grateful I am to this community for bearing with how imperfectly I've done this. Learned a lot of things for next time, but we've done hundreds of postcards that'll get mailed this week to voters in Florida. And I also have somehow misplaced my colored pen, so we'll be a little short on supplies this week. But you're all welcome. And there's another snafu I won't get into. But you're all welcome. And if you want to do some the next 2 days and take them home, see me, and we'll figure that out. And then we have another fun social justice October thing.
Okay, guys, this one is going to be a blast. We have the RE program involved. We've got social justice involved. The kids are doing Treats for Treasures, which is if you bring in any type of anything that's on our list for Healing Paws for Warriors. We need collars, we need service vests, we need leashes. There's a whole list of it posted in the back. There's a QR code. But if you bring something in, go see Sarah or Holly. We might be a little short today because I think we all forgot the treasures, but you will get yours next week if we are. But let them know, and you will get some kind of little treat out of a little treasure box. Also, we have a coin drive going on. The proceeds from that are going to go to Healing Paws for Warriors. Sarah and Holly are going to have one of the kids from the RE program take whatever money is raised and go buy as many extra supplies for Healing Paws as they can. So it's a coin drive. We got cats versus dogs, all right? Whoever has the most coins is going to be the winner. So that will also determine next year one of our drives, whether we do socks or we do Healing Paws again. So let's get your coins out there. If you don't carry change, put some dollar bills in there. Dollar bills.
Thank you. These two are dynamic, this duo. And I believe Judy, Byrne Riley, also has a brief announcement to make.
Just very briefly, I'm going to post this on the back, but I wanted to tell you about this fundraiser that the Public School Foundation is having. It's a barbecue and bingo opportunity. It's a lot of fun. This is a group that gives teachers grants for things to do in their classroom and also scholarships to kids that are in need to help them get into college if they make the grades they're supposed to. It's a great organization. I'm going to post this, and I have some tickets to sell, so just let me know how many you want.
Thank you, Judy. In addition to Get Out the Vote today between 11:15 and 12:15, we're also having a small group discussion called the Speakers Circle. And it's going to meet at that time at the front of this sanctuary. And our speaker today, Judy Byrne Riley, will be there, and we will reflect upon the message that we've heard from her today from the pulpit. So please, 2 wonderful activities. Please stay and participate. And now the prelude prepares us for our service. Claire Hallett will light our chalice today. This chalice is for the living, the changing, the becoming. This chalice is for losing the script of your life, the chapters about who you are in other people's stories. This chalice is for the lost GPS that was supposed to show you how to get where they expected you to go. This chalice is for skipping the directions, coloring outside the lines, painting, not by numbers, but by silence, wild abandon with a brush you made yourself. Startling, vivid, a new voice that already knows you. Finally, a true story. And now, would you please stand as you are able, and let's sing together our first hymn today. We laugh, we cry. Sarah has a special treat for us, and time for all ages today. So the children, yes, come on up, have a seat. Good. Sarah?
All right, real quick, I have to know something really important. So, if you are Team Cat, I'm gonna need y'all to give your best meow. And if you're Team Dog, I'm gonna need you to give me your best woof. All right, but yeah, just to keep y'all aware, the donation buckets are gonna be on the back where the RE schedule is, and like we were saying earlier, we're gonna. What? I wish I could get one of those donuts. But we're going to be taking those donations that you get in the buckets and getting some supplies. And then if you want to get extra supplies, go on and go ahead. Maybe we'll do a gecko donation drive. I don't know. Save the geckos. Anyway, I'm Sarah Searfoss, for those of you who have not met me yet. And I'm the Director of Religious Exploration. And Miss Holly over there is the assistant. And today I've got a little bit of a thing. I got this bag, and this bag represents belief. It is empty. And I think, huh? Maybe later. But we're not kicking the belief bag. But like this bag, it starts empty whenever we're young. And then as we grow older, we pick up things from our parents and, things we watch. And maybe we put those in the bag for a little bit. But then we grow a little bit older again, and we realize maybe I don't like some of the stuff that's been in the bag that I've got from other influences. So then we start to take out those things. Well, if we're taking it out, we're not doing anything with it. We're discarding it. You should have ate breakfast. Then, after we get the beliefs out, we might pick more up, new beliefs that go into the bag. And sometimes we have to take those beliefs, and maybe we have to do a little extra cleaning on them to get some of those old beliefs out that have kind of lingered. Yeah, squeak and shine. And then some people, whenever they get their belief bag, they like to close it up and keep it closed. And then they hold it over other people's bags.
My bag is full in your bag.
Right? And then sometimes, while maybe good intentioned, they take their bag and maybe they crumple other people's bags, or at least attempt to. But the cool thing about being in the UU church is that oftentimes our bags are open and we hold them in front of us at the same level because we respect each other as humans, and we respect that we all have different beliefs that we can also learn from each other. So we're gonna go back today and have some silliness. And I appreciate you guys for signing your kiddos in, and just whenever the first hour ends, be sure to sign them out. And then if you're staying for second hour, sign them back in.
Joys, special milestones, and concerns quiet meditation or prayer. I invite you to put aside any worries and just breathe together as one. And after a moment of silence, I'll close with a brief prayer. May we find love in this place, love in our hearts, love for the broken down, love for the lonely, love for those yet to feel whole, love for those in between, love for those and out of reach. May we find love, add love, and be love in this world. Amen. Generosity is a spiritual practice. Our fellowship is supported by our pledges and donations. If you're paying your pledge today with a check, please write pledge on the memo line. We also have a tradition that we call Share the Plate, where we split equally all cash donations with a local charity. For the month of October, our Share the Plate partner is Shelter House of Fort Walton Beach. Shelter House is committed to supporting victims of domestic and sexual violence by providing shelter, intervention, and primary preventive programs to the community through education, awareness, and advocating for social change. Will our greeters now collect the donations? When people hear the expression, when hell freezes over, they're generally referring to something that they think will never happen. Yet, I understand that there is a small town in Norway called Hell, and in the winter, it freezes over. Today, longtime UUFEC member Judy Byrne Riley will share her personal experience of what happened to her life when her belief system was shaken by doubt and the unthinkable happened. Hell froze over. Judy?
Well, I think the pronouns are a little incorrect, but it's a good story. The Bible tells us in Revelations 14:9-11, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment ascendeth up and forever, and likely have no rest day or night, who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name. Well, if you're a Bible reader, this is the hell that we know, the biblical one, the fire and brimstone of the circuit rider, the horse-riding preacher going from small, newly carved town of our country to another one down the road, the country minister under a huge tent in the middle of a cornfield or a cotton field or a tobacco field. But times change, ideas blossom, God bless you, people challenge. Hell is an unpopular doctrine in our time. According to Dr. Carmen Imes, Associate Professor of the Old Testament at Biola University in California, she writes, long gone are the days of fire and brimstone preaching, but what the Catholic Catechism has to say about hell is based on the teaching of Jesus, affirming that hell lasts forever and that it is freely chosen, not predestined by God, who wants all to be saved. Hell, Dr. Ames goes on, is a state of definitive self-exclusion from communion with God and the blessed. When we die without repenting and receiving the love and mercy of God for us, we choose to be separated from him forever. The reality of hell should move us to repentance, she writes, and motivate us to share the good news of God's love with as many as possible. A final judgment awaits all people where we must render an account of our own deeds. Well, hell is everywhere, of course. The major belief systems all have it. The Quran, the holy book of Islam, describes hell as having wretched inhabitants who sigh and wail. Their scorched skins are constantly exchanged for new ones so that they can taste the torment anew, drink festering water, and though death appears on all sides, they cannot die. It was reported that the monotheists who enter hell will be the first level of hell. The Jews are in the second level. The Christians are in the third level. The Sabians get the fourth. That's a non-Muslim sect mentioned in the Quran that was granted religious toleration. However, they are going to hell. The Zoroastrians are in the fifth. The polytheist Arabs are in the sixth, and at the very bottom. And not to be left out, the Torah presents a different slant on hell. Only truly righteous souls ascend directly to the Garden of Eden, say the sages. The average person descends to a place of punishment and purification, generally referred to as Gehenna. There are 7 levels that are explanations of what happens in each level and in each chamber and what kinds of sins you do in order to get to a certain chamber. For example, the 4th chamber is where they put people that have arrogance, who make fun of poor people, and also Jewish men who go with Gentile women. The 5th level is for informers. If you call the cops on a Jew or call the IRS on a Jew, you've got a serious problem. Also in the 5th level is someone who's a heretic, someone who doesn't believe in the resurrection of the dead. In the 7th level Anyone who enters never leaves. They go in there, they never get out. Even after the Messiah comes, even after the end of the world, it's an eternity of hell, which could be millions and millions of years. The intellectual scientist also has her say. And there is the scientific detail from Applied Optics, Volume 11, 1972. Put things in a way, well, we can kind of understand, but bear with me while I quote the scientist. And I've cut a lot of this out, by the way. The temperature of heaven can be rather accurately computed. Our authority is Isaiah 30:26, which is quoted, "Moreover, the light of the moon shall be as the light of the sun, and the light of the sun shall be sevenfold as the light of 7 days," unquote. But, the scientist says, "the fearful and unbelieving shall have their part in the lake which burneth with fire and brimstone." The scientist concludes the lake of molten brimstone means that its temperature must be at or below the boiling point of 444.6 Celsius. We have then that heaven is 525 Celsius, and it's hotter than hell at 445 Celsius. Carlton Pearson, he believed in hell, and he believed in heaven, and he believed in all of the things that went with it. Carlton Pearson, who died unfortunately last November, was not just an ordinary minister. He was a Christian leader with a capital L. It was his heritage, and it was in his blood. He came by his preaching honestly. He says, "There are two types of people in my family, preachers or convicts. I'm the 4th generation classical Pentecostal minister." He explained, "My dad, his dad, my maternal great-grandfather served, and several of my uncles on both sides were preachers." It was kind of something that always fascinated me, and I loved preaching and felt an urge to do so when I was only 5. He became bigger than his ancestors, however. He was charismatic African-American bishop in the Pentecostal church, a Christian megastar. He was licensed and ordained in the Church of God in Christ. He was mentored by Oral Roberts. He sang in the World Action Singers, later becoming an associate evangelist with the Oral Roberts Evangelical Association. In 1981, Pearson formed his own church, Higher Dimensions Evangelistic Center, which became one of the largest churches in Tulsa, Oklahoma. He was at one time one of only 2 African-American ministers to hold a weekly national television preaching show, reaching from hundreds of thousands to millions of people on a weekly basis. He has been credited as being one of the first black ministers to hold major conferences in arenas and stadiums across the country. During the 1980s, Pearson's church grew to an average weekly attendance of over 6,000 people. In 1996, he was adored as a bishop. He traveled in private jet planes at evangelical Christian gatherings. He was considered to be heir apparent to Oral Roberts, and he was on the Board of Regents there. He worked with the George W. Bush White House. The Pentecostal charismatic community gave him honor. It gave him rank and privilege and titles of bishop, evangelist, and Christian diplomat. The Reverend Carlton Pearson, he was something. He tells the story of watching the nightly news in 1996, holding his 1-year-old in one arm and eating dinner in the other, watching a report about the return of the Hutus and the Tutsis from Rwanda to Uganda after months of exile. He saw pictures of women and children with swollen bellies, mothers with withered breasts, flies gathering at the corner of their eyes, bones protruding, he writes. I berated God concerning his earthly project. God, I don't know how you can sit on your throne there in heaven and let these poor people drop to the ground, hungry, heartbroken, lost, and just randomly suck them into hell, thinking nothing of it, and be a sovereign God, not to mention a God of love. A voice responded, "Is that what you think we're doing?" "Well, so I've been taught," he answered God. "They need to be saved so they can go to heaven." "How?" asked God. "Well, someone needs to go there and save them." God says, "Okay, put down your food, turn off your TV, catch your first plane, and go save them." Carlton responds, "I'm doing the best I can. My hands are full. I can't save the world." "Precisely," responds God. "We did that already. If you would spend your life giving and living the message of God, you wouldn't seek such pain. We're not sucking those people into hell. They're already there. We need to bring them into heaven to stop their suffering and saving them from the hell that you have created for them and continue to create for yourselves and others all over the planet." Pearson writes, "It had taken God 5 minutes to unravel the truth I had lived by my entire life, and perhaps reshaping the understanding of the purpose of my life to come." There he was, a star of the highest magnitude, preaching, believing, with thousands of followers, making millions of dollars for his church. What turmoil he must have experienced, a total evaluation, a truly existential crisis. I learned of the Reverend Pearson on an NPR program, This American Life, while Odin and I were on a road somewhere. It was an interview with him quite a few years ago about his life-altering experience. I was enthralled. I was fascinated by the journey of his life. So I explored. This experience, this conversation with God, was the beginning of a total re-examination of everything he believed about God, the universe, and why he believed what he did. He began to reassess his worldview and how it was related to his perception of God, creation, Christianity, and hell. His response began in 1996. By 2004, he had turned his back on all of that, on 50 years plus of religious teaching, turned his back on a family of millions to preach his revelation. His revelation, the gospel of inclusion, the idea that a loving God would not condemn most of the human race to burn in the fires of hell. He writes, "We need to be saved from the concept that a malicious, capricious God, a God who is waiting for us to sin so he can fling us into heaven, into hell, that's superstition. Stop worrying about lifestyles and build a love style. We have created an angry God, and to placate him, we have created doctrines and dogmas that have contributed to the global conflicts that prevent world peace." Pearson evolved, believing that all of God's children have already been saved by the sacrifice of Christ. Muslims, Jews, theists, atheists, even Unitarians, everyone. Weaving theology, biblical linguistics, and cultural history, he bravely asserts that the dogma of hell is nothing more than a device to control the faithful, that the authoritarian religion is at the heart of the world's troubles, and that God belongs to all humankind. With this monumental shift in his belief, he shocked the Pentecostal community and the thousands who flocked to hear him Sunday after Sunday. They had absolutely no patience for that. They turned on him. No Christian love there. In March of 2004, after hearing Pearson's argument for inclusion, the Joint College of African American Pentecostal Bishops concluded that with such teaching by Pearson, he was a heretic. He was declared a heretic by his peers, and he rapidly began to lose his influence in the evangelical fundamentalist church. The membership of the Higher Dimensions Family Church fell below 1,000. The church lost its building to foreclosure in January of '06. They made him an outcast. He lost his good name. He lost his church. He lost his livelihood. Eventually, he lost his family, and he lost his friends. Carlton picked up that mantle of heretic. He began to preach change, to change our concepts of not the existence of God, but the purpose of God, to rearrange. He rearranged, he reprioritized, he deleted, and he added, and he began to teach a new gospel, the gospel of inclusion. The truth of the gospel of inclusion, he writes, will blow apart our preconceived ideas about God and his plans for humanity. Carl didn't give up on God, he just repositioned him. I'm using the Christian Bible, he writes in his book, to help prove my thesis that God is not a Christian. We need not be saved from God. We need to be saved from religion. He told those few followers left that they needed to be saved from perceptions of God which portray God as angry, with a torture chamber managed by the anti-angel, the devil. Carlton posits that all religions assume the role of a placating God, an angry God, ready to throw you into that fire and brimstone, creating doctrines and dogmas that have contributed to the global conflicts that prevent world peace. How he preached, would our world change if we were inclusive, if we accepted all and included all? With inclusion, conflicts could be not existent. Wars over beliefs could have been, and maybe still could be, avoided. Well, I think that's a rather pie in the sky concept for sure, but the basic tenet of Christianity, Islam, Judaism, all major religions hold that hell and the devil are in high regard. The devil will get you. Do what we say. Believe our beliefs. Follow our preachers, or else. The devil just waits for you to trip up. In his book, The Gospel of Inclusion, Pearson uses the Christian Bible to prove his thesis that God is not a Christian. In October of 2016, the Reverend Mark Worth, speaking to the Harvard Unitarian Universalist Church, wrote a sermon called The No Hell Church. When asked by his nephew, an Assemblies of God pastor, those must have been interesting Thanksgiving dinners, if you use believe in hell, his answer, the nephew asked if you use believe in hell, and his answer was no. I believe that we humans sometimes create little hells for one another right here on earth. But as far as any possible afterlife goes, I'm conceived that there is no hell. Historically, he writes, the Universalists, one of the two groups that formed our present denomination, were the no hell church. They taught that a loving God wouldn't create a torture chamber called hell and then create us so flawed that we had to be sent there. Worth notes, I believe that if God created the universe, and if God is love, as the Epistle of John says, then a loving God won't send us to hell. There has been controversy in some evangelical churches, he continues, with a new wave of universalist thinking coming from Christian authors. Reverend Worth speaks of Carlton Pearson. He told his congregation that the Carlton Pearson I speak about today, Pearson preached, says Worth, that God's love includes and saves everyone. He was tried by a council of Pentecostal bishops, he told them, found guilty of heresy, and he lost his church. Pearson, says Worth, preaches that loving our neighbor means loving everyone and everything you encounter without condition. Everything you experience has love in it somewhere. Each encounter exposes part of the self you must love, because each encounter reveals more of the essence of who you really are. Life is good. Life is love. He does not reside in a church, a Bible, a doctrine, or a sermon. He resides in you and me and every one of us. Reverend Worth espouses the words of the gospel of inclusion. Our new U logo in the back, UUA logo, the flower of love with petals of justice and interdependence and equality and generosity, pluralism and transformation. It's a flower that tries to include with all petals supporting and emphasizing love. This UU congregation professes, with our framed poster right out there, that we are a welcoming congregation, and UUFEC went through a required process from the UUA that declared us to be so. The UUA Welcoming Congregation Program is a program that helps congregations become more welcoming to people of all sexual orientations, gender identities, and gender expressions. Hopefully, we here at UUFEC are welcoming and welcoming to everyone, to all persons who come through our door. We say so in our opening greeting. We welcome you. No matter how you come or where you come from, we welcome you. And Carlton, before his death from cancer last November at age 70, Pearson was subsequently the senior minister of the Christ Universal Temple, a large New Thought congregation in Chicago, Illinois. He was head of a new and improved Higher Dimensions Fellowship in Chicago. And this is why I love him. Reverend Carlton Pearson was an affiliate minister at the Tulsa All Souls Unitarian Church. He found his tribe, and he was included. He became part of our UU tribe, preaching the gospel of inclusion. Thank you. That's it. It's all yours.
Remember, 11:15 to 12:15 today in front. Judy will be with us, and we can talk more about what we just heard. Amazing. All right, let's stand as you are able and sing our closing hymn, Spirit of Life. It's number 123. Changes abound around us, between us, in our communities, our neighborhoods, and our beloved faith communities. Changes abound. May we each find the balance point we need as we move through our ever-changing world. The balance between the old and the new, between the known and the unknown, between the familiar and perhaps bold and risky possibilities that may be there waiting. Please remain seated during the postlude. ode to joy. Isn't that a wonderful way to close the service? Thank you all for coming, and particularly all of those who made this service such a good one. Our tech people, our greeters, Cecile, and of course Judy. Appreciate it all. Now we'll have some refreshments, and then at 11:15, please stay in the office. Get out the vote. We need you to help write some postcards. And of course, up here in the front, Judy will join us and we'll discuss what we heard her say today. Thank you.